Hello and welcome to another episode of In the Mix, presented by CrossBones MMA Radio. I'm your host, John Galloway, and today, as we look at the world of combat sports, I'll be joined by my guest, Kris Gratalo. Kris, John Galloway, CrossBones MMA, how's it going today?
Good, John. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for being here. So, Kris, we got a fight coming up this weekend. You're going to be fighting down in Allentown, Pennsylvania, for World Cagefighting Championships. How's that going for you?
Oh, man, I'm really excited. I've been out of the cage for about 6 months now, so I'm just really excited to get back in there and do my thing.
Now, Kris, you've had a bunch of fights, and you're coming currently off of a second round loss. But you've gone 7-2 in your amateur career, including a belt and for Beatdown in Billtown. So, how do you plan on getting back to the winning ways, Kris?
I'm really just kind of getting back to my roots. More of the, just grappling and wrestling and just kind of getting that grind in and just, that's really who I am. That's how I built my little empire, was just how I wrestle. So I really think that's kind of what I've been focusing on more to get me back to where I was.
Now, is that your background? Is that your roots, wrestling?
Yeah, most definitely. I've been wrestling since I was probably 8 or 9 years old, all the way up until 2 years into college.
Now, how did you make the transition over into MMA?
I actually stopped wrestling in college, just didn't get along well with my coach and everything, and ended up taking a break from that. And I was lost after that because all I knew was wrestling. So I basically, I needed something to fill that gap. So somebody asked me to come help them with their wrestling, and they were at this mixed martial arts school, and one thing led to another, and next thing I know, I was signed up for a fight.
Yeah, that's the way it happens sometimes, let me tell you. So, Kris, who are you fighting this weekend?
I'm actually fighting a guy out of Ohio, Mesmerin Sunsaray, I believe his name is.
Have you had an opportunity to watch any film on him? Do you watch film on your opponents?
Yeah, I watch a little bit. I got a chance to look at some stuff he had online. I'm confident going into this fight.
Now, Kris, your fights so far have come usually by decision. A lot of the time, you're getting unanimous decisions, so you're clearly demonstrating to the judges that that you're dominating that fight. But you haven't come up with a finish yet in the ring. You're looking to change that, obviously.
Yeah, you know what? I'm really hungry for a finish here. I'm looking at this as my last amateur fight, so I'm going to go out there and just display, what I've been working on so hard. But yeah, usually I grind it out, and I think now with the advanced rules as well, it's going to help me out. Now I can ground and pound.
Now, being this is an amateur fight, I'm assuming that you're still working full-time jobs or part-time jobs outside of the MMA industry in order to support yourself and anybody else that you might be helping out. Would I be correct in that assumption?
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, I'm really just working weekends. I'm a bartender, so I make out pretty well on tips and whatnot. But I personal train also at the gym that I train at. So it's kind of like I make money when I can, but I'm fully committed to fighting.
Well, that was going to be where I went with that question. So I'm glad you kind of went there. A lot of amateur fighters, they want to be fully committed. They are fully committed to fighting, but they make a lot of sacrifices, personal sacrifices, in order to do that because they're trying to balance out their financial lives and their own personal lives at the same time. How do you strike that balance?
You know what? I really have a great support system behind me. My family, my girlfriend, my team, just everyone that I'm surrounded by is always willing to help. If I ever hit a crossroads or a bump in the road where I needed some help, I'm really surrounded by tons of people that care about me. So it's really like it never really crosses my mind what would happen if if that ever became a situation.
Sure. Now, what gym are you fighting out of right now?
I'm fighting out of American Top Team ABE and Hammer Training and Fitness.
And now, are you currently the only one at that gym that's training for a fight, or are there other guys?
No, we got other guys fighting this weekend. There's Desmond Moore, who'll be fighting his second pro fight against Michael Heffelfinger, and then we also have Devin Jacobus, who's also fighting this weekend. And I'm not positive who his opponent is, but those guys have been training. We've all been training together, and we've just kind of been grinding it out for the last couple of weeks. So I know those guys are ready to go as well.
Yeah. Now, what's that like for you going into a fight card where you have other guys that fight out of the same gym, right alongside of you? How does that help you mentally getting ready for a fight?
I really look at it just like wrestling. That's how I grew up. So I grew up around, other guys that were training just as hard, if not harder than me. We're all trying to achieve the same goal. So it kind of brings me back to when I was younger. So that right there is enough motivation for me to want to work just as hard, if not harder, than the guys that are surrounding me.
Now, Kris, we're 4 days out from the fight. The fight is this Saturday night, again in Allentown at the Econo Lodge Convention Center. Where are you in your camp? Are you shut down? Are you fine-tuning? Where are you at in your camp right now?
You know what? I'm kind of I'm coasting into the fight. I've laid my tracks. I'm going to just ride the train at this point. I put my work in, so it's time to just let my body recover a little bit and just be ready for fight night. And
this fight is going to be taking place at 185 pounds, is that correct?
No, it's actually going to be at a catch weight of 195.
Okay, so you are fighting at a catch weight. Now, did you request the catch weight? Did he? Was it, how did that come about?
I think it was a mutual thing. Okay. So, I prefer to not have to cut weight anymore at the amateur level. My last fight and a couple other fights, I've cut a lot of weight and just wasn't smart, at this point in my career. So I figured now I'm not going to fight anything below 190. Gotcha.
Now, coming out of this fight, win or lose, you're looking to turn pro. Is that correct?
Yeah, most definitely. 2015, I'm going pro without a doubt.
And have you been in contact, or are you in contact with any organizations about bringing you in as a professional yet?
I've been in contact with CFSC. I was fighting for XFE for a while there, and they merged with CFFC. So I'm looking to mostly start my pro career with CFFC.
Okay, and their regional organization, Cage Fury Fighting Championship, do a lot of shows in Valley Forge and in the surrounding areas. Have you been to their shows? Have you had any interaction with their production staff and their production team?
Yeah, I've been to a few of their shows just as as a spectator, and then I've also cornered a friend of mine at one of their shows. So I've seen the ins and outs of it. It's a great promotion. All the promotions that are really around the area are pretty great. There's really nobody that's throwing a bad show. But CFFC, they're said to be the top dogs right now. But I know WCC is starting to creep up on them.
And you know what? That's there's a reason for it. They're putting together stack cards with guys like you on it. So it helps to draw the crowd out. Now, will you have a bunch of people there in the crowd rooting for you on Saturday?
Most definitely. It's a little bit closer to my hometown, which is like in between the Scranton and Wilkes-Barre area. So it's not too far of a drive for most of my friends and family and my sponsors and everybody else that's going to be coming out. So, I've built a pretty good fan base here in the Lehigh Valley, and then I also have the Wyoming Valley. So I'm expecting a good amount of people to be at the show.
Nice. Now, you mentioned a couple of sponsors might be there. Who do you have sponsoring you going into this fight right now?
I have the Altieri family at Vince's Pizza in Pittston, and I also have Dave Pizak and the guys over at House of Ink in Exeter.
All right, nice. Now, if people can't get down to Allentown this weekend to see the fight live, but they want to keep up with your career, where you're looking to go pro next year, future bouts, just basically what you have going on, where can they do that on social media? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Twitter? Where are you?
Most definitely. I'm on Facebook, Kris Gratalo, Kris with a K, so it's Kris, and then Gratalo, Gratalo. And then I'm also on Instagram. You can find me at Badger_ATT.
All right, awesome. Well, Kris, thanks for coming in. That's going to wrap up another episode of In the Mix, presented by CrossBones MMA Radio. I'd like to extend a big thank you to today's